Welcome. Today we will discuss about teaching competence and attributes. Most of the times people are talking about quality of instructions. Always there is a criticism that quality of instruction is going down. It may be due to various factors like declining financial resources, lack of faculty competency in new and emerging frontier areas, extensive inbreeding and lack of adequate skill, entrepreneurship and experiential learning. So, in fact, there are several factors that is contributing to the low quality of education in the country. But in this session, we will be focusing more on the teaching competencies. In fact, there is a mismatch between the professional training of passing out graduates and requirements of the emerging market. We need to address this issue at this point of time. If you talk about the quality assurance, there are three important things are there, that is competency, infrastructure and curriculum. So, at the outset, teaching competency of the faculty is the key driver for enhancing the quality of education. In this session, the objective is to sensitize the participants about different teaching competencies required for effective teaching. What do you mean by competence? Competence is best described as a complex combination of knowledge, skills, understanding, values, attitudes and desires. Ultimately, it should end up with a sort of what you call effective embodied human action in the world in a particular domain. So, it is to be distinguished with the skill also. The competency at the outset, it should reflect in the ability of the individual to perform complex acts with ease, precision and adaptability. In a way, it reflects the performance of the individual. Competency is a skill, a personal characteristic or a motive demonstrated by various behaviors which contribute to the outstanding performance in a given job. Not only teaching, every job requires competencies. In teaching, we need to understand what are the different competencies required for an effective teacher and in the process of delivery of teaching learning situation. And at the same time, we need to understand teaching competencies varies with the stage of the teacher's professional growth and development. An assistant professor requires a different set of competencies, an associate professor requires a different set of competencies and a professor requires different set of competencies. And this is because mainly the roles and responsibilities of the teachers. Teachers not only the teaching, but also they do act as mentors, the guides, the leaders and several other roles are being performed by the teachers. That is the reason we need to have different set of competencies at the different stages of the professional growth. And in the process of development of technology and the transformation is happening, especially in the new teaching and learning paradigm. And range and complexities of competencies also required. For that reason, the teachers should be innovative and adaptability is required. Coming to the competency mapping and development. Mapping of competency is very critical and it varies with the organization's mission and vision. Based on the objectives, the strategy of the organization, the individuals who are inducted into the organization needs to have a different set of competencies. For the example, revamping of quality of education, we need to understand what are the challenges. In the process, there are different competency mapping models are available. These models describes the combination of knowledge, skill and characteristics needed to effectively perform a role in an organization. This competency mapping helps for the selection, training and development, appraisal and succession planning. So, we need to understand the intricacies of the competency mapping and development. There are different models. Let us understand this PACS model, the competency mapping model, PACS model. So, this model lays emphasis on four important things: personality, ability, knowledge and skill. Coming to the personality, the individual, the teacher should have assertiveness, competitiveness, self-sufficiency, high motivational stamina and high energy levels. Coming to the ability part, The individual should have strong mental ability, divergent thinking, quantitative and researching ability. So, these are all certain traits a teacher should have as far as the ability is concerned. Coming to the knowledge part, the student or the teacher should have enough technical knowledge or practical knowledge of the subject proper, and latest trends and research related to the subject also equally important as far as the teaching is concerned. Coming to the important other component is skills. What sort of skills a teacher requires? What sort of skills a teacher should imbibe among the students? One such among these skills important is the communication skills, problem solving skills, presentation skills, and coaching and mentoring and training skills. So, this model clearly delineates that these 4 important things are required for any teacher, that is personality, ability, knowledge and skills. There is another model called task. This model evolved based on the roles performed by the teacher. Any teacher should have 5 important characteristics. One is trait, the ability, the attitude, the skill and the knowledge. Let us look at the traits. What traits a teacher should have? One is consciousness of the student teaching learning process, agreeableness, openness or even criticism as well, extraversion, flexibility and consistency in values and systems. That is what we require as a teacher. The other important thing, ability. It should have the ability to take initiatives, negotiation, adaptability, crisis management and creativity also equally important. The crucial element in this model is attitude. The teacher should have the curiosity, the nature of discovery, encouraging creativity and continuous learning, lifelong learning. These are all certain important attitudinal changes are required for the teacher. Coming to the skill component, the self-management, functional skills and content skills. This is a very big domain. Content, it varies with the individual to individual and domain to domain. Coming to the knowledge, what sort of values and beliefs you have, the conviction, the subject matter and the current world, what are the changes are happening in the vicinity, what are the changes happening that is going to contribute for improving the teaching learning situation. These are all the certain characteristics of the particular task model. At the outset, the teacher competencies revolves around 3 important things. One is knowledge and understanding, that is called cognitive domain, skills, the functional actionable dimension and the disposition, the beliefs, the attitudes, the values that this is all in any individual, these 3 components are very, very important as far as the teaching is concerned. Let us understand each component. Coming to the knowledge and understanding, the teacher should have pedagogical content knowledge, the content, if it is a physics, it is a chemistry, it is a veterinary science, it is an agriculture, whatever it may be, the content knowledge is very, very critical. It does not mean that content knowledge alone is going to be suffice. We need to understand the pedagogical knowledge, what are the teaching methods, what is the teaching learning situation, what is an educational environment. These are also equally important to deliver the goods. Curricular knowledge, educational science foundation, what is the philosophy of education, what is the psychology of education, what is the anthropological the perspectives of education. These are all equally important to make teaching learning effective. And at the same time, the contextual nature, especially in agriculture and allied sciences, context is very, very important. The institutional, the organizational aspects of educational policies, what are the policies are happening here and what are the changes are brought about. These are also equally important as far as the knowledge and understanding is concerned. The other important thing is inclusion and diversity. This is one of the critical factors in the process of teaching and learning situations. Often it is being ignored. Inclusion and diversity. The other important thing is effective use of technologies. Now it is the era of technological development. There are so many technologies are coming up. People are using and they are integrating into their teaching learning process. Developmental psychology and group processes and dynamics. Now the teaching is not the individual learning, it is a group learning. So these are all the certain things the teacher should have a thorough knowledge and understanding. Coming to the skill component, the individual should have great skills in planning, managing and coordinating the teaching, use of teaching materials and technologies, the managing the students and groups, monitoring, adopting as assessing teaching learning objectives and processes, collecting, analyzing, interpreting evidence and data for professional decisions and teaching learning environment, using developing and creating research knowledge to inform practices. So, these are all certain skill sets required for a teacher. Apart from that, collaboration with colleagues, parents and social services, negotiation skills, reflective metacognitive interpersonal skills and adapting to educational context characterized by multi-level dynamics with cross influences. So, these are all certain set of skill sets that are required for any individual teacher. Coming to the other important component, dispositions. It is all related to the beliefs, the attitudes and the values and the commitment. So, the teacher should have the epistemological awareness, teaching skills through content, transferable skills, dispositions due to change, flexibility, ongoing learning and professional improvement, and commitment to promoting the learning of all students, because the learning styles vary with the individuals, with the students, and we need to focus on all individuals with the different learning styles. Dispositions to promote students' democratic attitude and practices, and critical attitude to one's own teaching. We have to reflect on our own teaching on a regular basis. That is one of the best ways of improving our teaching. And dispositions to teamwork, collaboration and networking. This is the order of the day: collaboration, cooperation, teamwork and networking. So, we need to imbibe these qualities and we need to change our beliefs and attitudes towards these components, and sense of self-efficacy. So, these are all certain beliefs and values to be understood and we have to integrate into our lives. Coming to the how to develop teaching competencies. The teaching competencies need to be developed. It varies from the stage to stage, and for that we need to have assessment of teaching competencies regularly. So, there are two methods are there. One is formative assessment and another is summative assessment. In formative assessment, the regular meetings for review, self-assessment, peer assessment, critical reviews, classroom observations, video analysis, written feedback and so on and so forth. These are all the formative evaluation. And what do you mean by summative assessment? So, examinations, classroom observations, micro teaching exercises, testing, these are all some of the examples for summative assessment. So, these things are to be done on a regular basis because it varies from stage to stage. The other thing is how you develop, what sort of actions to be taken care. This development of teaching competencies can be taken up either by pre-service training, what you call the foundation training or induction training, and in-service training. So, for the youngsters we can go for pre-service training, and already in service we can go for in-service training based on the needs of the people. And any teacher should have certain attributes as well. Of course, there are quite good number of attributes are there, but we will look at the attributes in terms of traits, qualities and roles. The important traits a teacher should have is great deal of knowledge, skill and attitude, that is the fundamental, and it should take care of the students as individuals and make them feel valued, because students also have experience, they too have knowledge, we are not starting from the scratch. And adaptation to learning styles. We need to understand teachers, students have different learning styles. Are we treating our message or the lessons as per the learning styles? That we have to cross check. Coming to the qualities, the teacher should be enthusiastic, should have good interest, fair minded, quality of expression, alert and perspective to the new changes. These are all certain qualities any teacher should have. Apart from that, the roles. Teacher has got different roles. It is not the teaching per se, but he will play different roles like educator, the leader, the administrator, the mentor, the member, the reviewer, evaluator, consultant and organizer. So, there are multifaceted responsibilities are there or the roles are there for the teacher. Every teacher should equip himself or develop competencies as far as the roles are concerned. Another important aspect is teaching styles. Every teacher has his own style of delivering the goods, that is teaching. So, we can see different styles: expert, style of teaching, formal authority, personal mode. Personal mode is nothing but by example. He will teach in his own way by quoting the examples. Facilitator, he will facilitate the learning, and delegates. He will delegates the teaching and learning situation to the students. So, we need to know that these are the different styles that are existing, and we have to adopt the better style as far as possible, suiting to the learning styles of the students. Coming to the summary, teaching competencies are very essential for effective teaching and for fostering quality education. That is one of the key learning outcome of this particular session. Subject matter alone will not contribute for effective teaching, but the pedagogical content knowledge, use of technology, understanding of group process are also equally important if you want to become a good teacher. The skill sets required for teaching competency include planning, managing, coordinating and negotiation, etc. and appreciation of the role of dispositions. This is very critical. This is the values, the beliefs, the commitments, or these are all going to add value to the teaching. So, this is all about the teaching competencies and attributes. Thank you very much.